Hi guys, welcome to the hints video for 6.4 on your own medium version. So for this hints video, we're going to go through labeling the diagram and then kind of how we would set up our equation. Okay, so number one, we're going to read through this nice and slow and label our diagram as we go. So first thing, a ladder leans against the wall at an angle of elevation of 37 degrees. So there's our first piece of information. Angle of elevation is 37. So we want to put that on our diagram. Remember, angle of elevation is from the ground up or from horizontal up. So we're down at horizontal, we're going up to the ladder. So our angle of elevation is here, so that's 37. Okay, keep reading. The top of the ladder is 9 feet off the ground. So there's our next piece of information. So we want to find which side on our triangle is going to be the top of the ladder off the ground. So top of the ladder is here. The height of that top is this vertical side. So this is our blue side, and that is 9 feet. Okay. Finally, we want to know how long is the ladder. So that's our unknown, so we need to give it a variable, and it's a side, so I'm going to give it the variable x. Okay, where is the length of the ladder on our diagram? Well, we labeled this guy as the ladder, it's the part that's leaning, the slanted side. So there's our yellow side, and we're going to label that x, because that's our unknown. Okay, so that's how we label our diagram. Now let's go through setting up this problem a little bit. So we want to know which side do we have, which side do we want, and then what trig ratio are we going to use based on that information. Okay, so our half side is the 9, and for 37 degrees that's the opposite side. Our want side is x, and for this triangle, that is the hypotenuse. So we have the opposite, we want the hypotenuse. All right, to figure out which trig ratio we want to use, you want to think about SOHCAHTOA. So hopefully you came up with, we want to use sine. So sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, then how do we set up our equation? Well, we know we're using sine, and I'm going to have you guys fill in the rest of this equation. So you decide what numbers go where, and then you're going to solve that equation for x. And if you need a refresher on solving, you can check out lesson 6.2. That's where we practice solving for missing sides. Okay, so that's number one. Now we're going to go down to number 2, and we're going to do the same thing. So this is kind of the hard one. This is the one that's a little bit different from the examples I was doing on Tuesday and Wednesday. But we're going to approach it the same way. So let's start by labeling our diagram. Aaron and Embry are at the top of the Ferris wheel of the State Fair. So here they are up here. They look down and see Deontay on the ground. Deontay is 15 feet from the base of the wheel. So there's our first piece of information. Deontay is 15 feet from the base of the wheel. So which side of our triangle is that? Well, Deontay's on the ground, and here's the base of the wheel. So there's the distance between Deontay and the base. So there's our pink side, and we know that this is 15. Okay, let's keep reading. The wheel is 140 feet tall. There's our next piece of information. So let's put that on our diagram. The height of the wheel is this vertical height across the middle of the wheel. So there's our blue side, and we know that that is 140. Okay, now here's our question. What is the angle of depression from Aaron and Embry to Deontay? Okay, that's what we want to know. So where is the angle of depression? Well, that's from Aaron and Embry down to Deontay. So there is our angle of depression. So this angle is the angle that we want. But we might notice that that angle is outside the triangle. So we can't easily use trig to find that angle just now. But we could use trig to find an angle inside the triangle. And we know that this whole corner is 90, so if we found this chunk, then we could find that chunk. So what we're going to do is we're going to find this angle first. And then we can use that to find our yellow angle, the angle of depression. So let's set up for finding that angle really quick. Let's call that angle theta. So which sides do we have? For theta, we've got the opposite side and the adjacent side. So which trig ratio do we want to use? Which one has opposite and adjacent? Hopefully we come up with tangent is opposite over adjacent. Okay, so once we have that established, we can set up our equation. We know we're using tangent, and I'm going to have you guys fill in the rest of this equation. So what goes inside the tangent, what goes in the fraction, and then we're solving for an angle in this case, so remember that to do that we're going to use trig inverses. So trig inverses are going to come into play. Okay, if you need a refresher on that, you can check out lesson 6.3. All right, I hope that helps you get started on these problems. Please let me know if you have questions, and I hope you guys have a great day.